Hello, SolarLune here, and this is a little, I guess you could say, look into how I make my sprites or something like that. Somebody asked that I live stream my spriting. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that or not. I don't think it's a bad idea. I guess I could record it and upload it on YouTube as well. But I don't know. My quality of spriting, it depends, it depends. Like this sprite, this is a little fighting game sprite I drew of Simon, actually, from Valkyrian. And it didn't turn out bad. It actually turned out pretty well. And then, there's some other sprites up here that aren't very good. So, I'm getting better as I go along. So, if I were to record it, then it wouldn't turn out good for the first, one or two. Or, however many. But then it might turn out better later. So, anyway, I'm going to show... this is basically the sprite. I compiled it all, or put them all into frames, and you can see it here. Let's go ahead and scale it up a little bit, and then play back the animation. So that's the sprite I drew. So you have the hair bouncing. You have some bouncing of his arms, his shoulders. It turned out really well. I didn't expect it. I was just kind of doing a little kind of test run, just kind of a little doodle that I wanted to try out, and I really like this kind of shadeless style of just really bright colors, really tight animation, shadows, selectively, but not all over the sprite. It turned out okay, not bad. I'd love to make it like a kind of a low-res fighting game, or a low-res, side-scrolling Metroidvania kind of game with this kind of style for everybody. So anyway, going back, okay, that's just a sprite I drew. You've seen that around. But anyway, going back, this is I drew a woman here, and basically I didn't record it, but I still have it saved in the undo history. So I'll just redo my way through it, and you can see kind of the process. So the colors I'm using are this palette over here. I can actually upload my palette for this video, so you'll be able to download it. That's something I went on and talked about my palette and talked about my colors, and then it didn't actually put a link to my palette anywhere in the for the palette tutorial or the palette tip video. So I'm going to put that out there. But anyway, so you see, the kind of style I have are kind of really square heads for everybody. Kind of blocky, and so that's where I'm going with this. Is basically I start off and I say, okay, I know that I'm going to want this woman to be basically white-haired. I want her to be looking sideways, not like Simon, but actually sideways. And so you see, the head's kind of square, and then I push it in a little bit to make it a little thinner, and I'm just kind of blocking it out here. And so I'll just kind of accelerate through this. And I want her back to be kind of toward the camera, so instead of being completely side-on like that, I go ahead and basically move the ear over to the left. So the ear's, more to the left. You see more of the back of her head, and so you kind of get the feeling of more, you're looking at the back of her rather than the side of her, or the front of her, front of the character like Simon. I don't really like this name Simon, so I keep calling him Simon because that's the name I set out for him, in Valkyrian. But I don't really like the name that much, so maybe he'll go get a name change later. Anyway, I started blocking out the body here. I knew that I was gonna have her holding something, and so I thought, okay, she's gonna be holding a gun, relatively close. I kind of tapered in the chest and the stomach. Added the abdomen and the abdomen and the pelvis, and then I started coloring in the neck so that I could see where her shoulders and her back kind of would be. And then I started use the skin to block out the legs a little bit. So I'm kind of slow at this compared to probably, because usually I don't do this kind of resolution and scope of spriting. I might do like a 32 by 32. This is 32 by 32, but it feels big because of the kind of how many pixels and how chunky the characters are. Usually, even if I go with a 32 by 32 sprite size, the character is relatively, less expressive and less chunky. I really like this style. So anyway, going back, I started, doing some basic coloring to kind of get the feel down. She had gloves at some point. Didn't really like that too much. Started modeling the dress a little bit more. Just doing some basic, more kind of work on the legs, on positioning the legs. That's something that I like about pixel art more so than actual drawing, is that it's easier to say, oh wait, that that doesn't really look right for her knee. It needs to be more back or more over or whatever. Whereas drawing, like a higher resolution, like if I were to draw, a 512 by 512 or 1024 by 1024 image using my tablet, it would be kind of hard for me because it's a lot more margin for error. Whereas this is like, that looks weird. That doesn't look weird. It's very immediate and easy to see. So I'm just kind of roughing out her shape overall a little bit more. Getting her armpit, her shoulder in there. Started modeling the gun. Interesting thing about this, I like the way that her finger looks like it was kind of like in the hole of the gun. How guns have like a little kind of like a half circle, and then your finger goes in there, and your the like second joint of your finger is pushed against the trigger. At least that's what I'm guessing. I haven't ever fired a gun. I'm just guessing on the way it looks. I like that it looks like she's really holding it, but it didn't make sense from the perspective of how big her hand was. The gun would have to be massive for the loop to be there, and for the whatever this is, not the trigger, but the what is this? What is that? What is this? What is that thing? I can't remember the name of it. It's the thing, the loader. I can't think of the word, but you use it the top of the gun where you press to cock the gun and load the bullet. She wouldn't be able to reach it because her hands are in proportion to her body, but the gun is too big. So I said, okay, well, let me go ahead and shave it down to a logical size for a gun. And so I just kind of messed around with that and came up with that little design, which she should be able to reach theoretically in space. It looks a little more logical, kind of like a spy gun from the 18 something or others, like the early like little small spy guns. Then started just kind of working on the form a little bit more, adding shoes, positioning her legs, working on her hair. So the thing that you notice here is that she kind of has like a manly look. I think that's because the hair is short and the hair is very close to the head. So I added a little bit of space to round out the shape of her hair. Even right there, it looks more womanly, right? Because it looks like she has kind of big, kind of full hair in a sense, kind of like a 60s spy, like the 60s like Bond villain, Bond spy or something from James Bond or whatever. I started giving her longer hair. I added a little bit of shading back there to indicate hair on the far side that's darker, and these colors again are from the palette I made. So this is not pure white, it's kind of an off-white. This is not pure blue, kind of off blue. Gave her hair going straight down, kind of high heels, as best as I could kind of realize with this style. I think I ended up kind of tweaking it some more. Made her dress longer. And this is where I kind of tweaked her eyes. The eyes I was trying to get with this perspective is really hard of this kind of style. To make the woman look kind of womanly, I was trying to get kind of more eyelashes going on to give her a more female look compared to, Simon. And I'm basically going to base the men of this style off of Simon, where you don't really have eyelashes. It's just his eyebrows and his eyelashes kind of merge into one. Because of the size of the sprite, I couldn't have both eyelashes and eyebrows, I don't think, without having it look crowded and kind of awkward. So that's kind of what I'm approaching with this kind of style too, is that, you can tell she's kind of angry, but it also looks kind of like eyelashes. And so I kind of tweak it a little bit, give her kind of a rounder approach. It's not as angry anymore, it looks more just kind of vacant. Change the color of her dress. I was going to give her robot ears, and I thought, that's stupid. She was going to be kind of like a battle android, but that didn't really make too much sense. Added some shading here, because, obviously, the hair that comes down in front of her face, if there is any hair, would be, darker coloring. So that's kind of like a shading effect there, not too much. Let's see what I do since then. Okay, yeah. So then, tweaked the gun a little bit, tweaked her body a little bit. She was kind of chunky. I think let me go back. I didn't cover that. Right around where? Right around, I guess it was there. I made her a little bit taller because it didn't really sit right. It didn't. You could see it feels stubby, right? That's what I mean about pixel art. What's good about it is that it's easier to see your mistakes. It's easier to see where, you know, something should be larger, something should be thinner, something should be, you know, thicker. And so I drew different sprites, different woman sprites, you know, above and a little further above. In addition to these, just trying to get the proportions down because they can't really be as, you know, really chunky as Simon is, because he's supposed to be kind of a big guy, and even he is not really that big of a guy. He's just kind of like a normal sized, you know, man in this universe. So I wanted to get the proportions right, and it feels like they have womanly proportions. I added like some joints, you know, like a robot, like a, you know, android would have. And then I thought, well, that's stupid. That, you know, if it was a battle android, then it would probably be where you wouldn't be able to, you know, tell. It'd be kind of a, you know, a disguised android. Just worked on her body a little bit, added some shadows here and there. This is where, you know, obviously, like some stretching or some, you know, not curves, what's it called? Just kind of like waving of her dress would be. And I moved her up here. And change her shoes a little bit, change her pelvis a little bit, add some shadows, and change her hair a little bit more, because that was kind of a boring look for hair. It's just kind of like straight down, so I added a little bit right there. That's, again, a good example of that pixel art. The advantage of pixel art drawing is right there. You can tell a difference. Just that right there. It makes her hair rounder, it makes her hair more interesting. Just that, you know, little change from a straight down approach to that rounded approach. And then I added, you know, basically made her dress not have like a full back up to her neck, but rather be kind of like a scoop out back. I can't think. I feel like I know the word for it, but I can't think of it. But yeah, scooped out the back of the neck of her dress. Then cut her hair into two pieces, essentially, the front piece and the back piece, and then rounded it off a little bit. And you see, I moved the hair in here. Yeah, I moved her hair in here, which wasn't. I mean, it's not a bad choice, but then I moved it out again to maintain that kind of full look. I added some anti-aliasing around this area to kind of just like blur it against the background, which is probably going to be darker, but then I cleaned it up because that doesn't work. Okay, we're still working on it. I wasn't sure if I was finished or not. That doesn't work for this kind of style. Remember, everything's kind of like really minimal shading, if at all possible. So I did do some anti-aliasing, but then I thought, no, let me have no anti-aliasing. Shifted her back, I guess you could say, because I shifted her pelvis and legs forward. Moved her arm to co-align with that. Drew some shading on her hand to indicate that she's, you know, kind of like loose-handed with it. And that's it. Yeah. So overall, I'm kind of pleased with this because it fits this style of woman. It fits this style of, you know, man, this kind of same universe. I don't use too much shading, but I feel like I use it well to kind of portray the character and what they're doing. That's not supposed to be there. And yeah, that's instantly better. Again, I keep saying this because it keeps remaining to be true. But you can see how if she's supposed to be wearing heels, that doesn't really look like heels. It looks more like hooves or something. Like that would be hooves, basically. And that's a pretty far step from how women's, you know, heels really look. And adding that little difference makes all the difference in the world. To feel like, yes, she's wearing high heels, yes, she's wearing a dress, yes, you know, you can definitely tell a lot more about the character using just a few pixels to kind of indicate what's going on. And if I wanted to, I could just add on a bracelet or something, because it seems like it's kind of bare on her arms. Yeah, something like that, and then maybe a darker color. That's pretty good. So yeah, I'm overall pretty pleased with this character. It feels not too usual, but also pretty simple overall in terms of the character style and what she's supposed to do and what she looks like. She looks kind of unique. So anyway, that's just a little bit of the animation and drawing that I've done in the past, like yesterday to today. Hopefully you found it interesting, and hopefully I'll be able to draw like an actual animation on camera rather than just drawing one and then stepping through, well, showing you the animation or stepping through my process of drawing a character. Anyway, thank you very much once again for watching. I've been SolarLune, and you have fun drawing pixel art using Gimp or whatever pixel art tools you use. See ya!